All right, Assalamu alaikum everyone. And today I want to talk about Bitcoin just a little bit in detail, maybe. And first of all, I'm going to start off with the lower time frame here, and let's talk about body versus wick as the first topic. So you have Bitcoin that has this several wicks, right? So one touch of wick, one touch of wick, another wick closed inside, and then you have another wick down. But this one is the first time that the body closed under that resistance. Okay, and a lot of people have debate. I've seen so many articles on the internet. So if we go on to Google, let's actually do this a little bit more in detail so that we can just get our concept much better. So I may actually write body versus wicks in trading, right? So the body, which represents the open to close range, the wick or shadow that indicates, we do know what this is. Body versus wicks, understanding basic analysis, the significant body of wicks, bodies or wicks, right? And some people are saying that I think bodies are best. I think they give a far better idea of true investor sentiment. I think a lot of the time wicks, the big wicks are formed from times of. Let's actually kind of see what this guy is talking about. So shout out to this page. It's called tradetowin.com. And yeah, so there's a lot of people. You can see this is the kind of conversation that we also need on Discord, but we never have one. But it's always interesting to see different perspective and opinions when you're drawing trend lines, support resistance line. Do you use extreme high lows wicks or the closes of bodies? I think bodies are best. I think they give a far better idea. I think a lot of the time wicks, the big wicks, are formed from the times of emotion, and therefore less reliable, which also makes sense. Wicks are more like stop loss hunting things. Candlesticks for daily charts could be argued to have validity. Anything else is generally arbitrary. Two candlesticks on one time frame, one with a long body up followed by the next candlestick with a long body down, can be seen concatenated as a single candlestick with a long wick, even when it comes to a long wick such. So basically, yes, honestly, I'm going to give you the main answer. There is no right or wrong answer, right? You still may combine bodies and you still may actually combine wick. Some people are going to draw the trend line like this, right? They're going to say that Bitcoin is still holding because they will consider this wick, and another touch right over there. But I may actually say that this time is actually the body. You really have to go with the wicks, you really have to go with the body, and based on your experience, you come up with the conclusion which one actually works better. Now sometimes I do combine wicks and bodies, but in this particular situation, it's just again with some sort of experience, that this to me does look like we must consider the body more than considering the wicks right now, because it really makes a lot of sense that you've been closing with wicks and the bodies have been closing above this trend line. And this is for the first time that the candles are now closing under that trend line. So it makes a lot of sense to me. Now that's the 4-hour time frame. Let's get into the daily and let's talk about what the daily time frame looks like. I've told you that Bitcoin has this massive resistance where you dropped previously, and then you have another resistance where you may actually drop again. And also plus and plus, if I show you the RSI, I want Bitcoin to really come to the historical lows where it's the best time to buy again. So this is the first low and you moved up. That's the second touch here, you moved up, and this is the touch again, you moved up. So I really want to see Bitcoin probably touching this again if I really had to buy and trade, which I'm going to be doing on the private. And also one more thing is that I do see that there's this trend line for Bitcoin, right? If I show you that one right there, Bitcoin is making a trend line right over here, and I'm actually going to make this a little bit better. So let's zoom in, let's check the details. So touch number one was back in 25 December. Here it is, okay? So that's the first touch. The second one was nearly 7 of September, right over there. And then you also had this one, which was back in 12 of October. So if Bitcoin ever has to come down, I think it may actually retrace down to that trend line, maybe by March, maybe by February, because that's the time frame. And it's going to be touching 33,000, and there are chances where it can actually even wick down to 31,000 and then move back up and then consolidate like this, and then you have a very big pattern which is almost like a rounded bottom that you're going to be creating here on a higher time frame. And then when you break above it, you move all the way to probably even 90,000, taking all this all-time high. But I actually will consider this as your next resistance, which is 69,000 in the future. So that's it for this video update on Bitcoin. Like the video if you enjoyed, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Allah Hafiz.